Hi, welcome back to FutureFast, and I hope you've gone through our two earlier conversations with Srinivas. One where he talks about his journey, and two, we talk about the product and what are the challenges and opportunities that he's working on. Very interesting conversations. You must catch it there. And if you're here today, we are going to talk about future trends and predictions, and for what FutureFast stands for is to bring in people like Srinivas who are doing things that are going to have impact on the future. And hopefully we'll have pointers to take up for our own businesses and life. With that, hope you enjoy the ride. And Srinivas, thank you once again for making time to be with us today.
Thank you.
So, Srinivas, what are the biggest changes you foresee in the near future?
I think there are many things, right? Couple of things, of course, there's a massive digitization happening around the world. And we are also moving to what is a renewable energy, right, in a big way around the world. And that's going to change, right? Big game changer. We are moving from the oil economy to a sustainable economy. You can just see the trends. Just the seeds have been sown, but it's going to change, right? So the impact on already had in the EV industry, automobile industry, and every other industry, right? It's happening. Next thing is a semiconductor part. You must have seen the latest already. TSMC announced a 3 nanometer chip.
Good.
Then we're going to have a 1 nanometer soon. Probably by the time we have a 1 nanometer chip up and running, we'll have quantum computing coming of age, right? And then parallel you see the AI, right? What you're going to do like ChatGPT, because AI was already there. It was not accessible to a common man, right? It was hidden. ChatGPT like tool makes it accessible to a common person, and people can see today the impact of AI.
Yeah. OpenAI just exploded everything.
Explode everything, right? Explode everything, and shaken up everything, right? You can see they're shaken up everybody, every business, every industry has been shaken up. Look at the evolution of history, right? Last hundreds of industrial. You look at things were happening. There was a automobiles came in, right? People said, when the 100 years back when the petrol engines came in, the IC engines came in, horse-driven cars. In 20 years, the whole world changed, right? Completely changed.
Oh yeah, actually, a lot of people don't even know that they were electric cars to start with.
Yes.
Before the petrol car.
Yes, petrol cars were there. EV coming back, but took 100 years to change back. Then we had, I think the next biggest change was, the electronics, right? If you look at, electronics, the big change was the semiconductor industry, right? We had a integrated circuits came in. We had valves and tubes. I remember having the old radio, right? The valve radio. Right. Then transistors came in. There's a big revolution, right? What was in a big box became, something which is portable, right? Could have a transistor in hand. That was a big turning point, in the industry. Then, then it changed was integrated circuits in the late 80s. When the microprocessor came in, right? The first microprocessor came in. Although they were mainframes and big chips, and the Intel and the AMDs of the world made the microprocessor. That was a turning point, right? When computing became ubiquitous. A lot more widespread, and the birth of the personal computer, right? Personal computer came in. It sort of democratized the computing to the high.
Correct.
Then that's where in the 80s and 90s, I think the biggest change that happened in internet, right? 98, 90, 95. No, internet was there in the 90s, but until the World Wide Web came in, right? I think in the 90s. It was a big shake-up, I think. Late 90s, I remember, companies which didn't embrace the internet, they all vanished, right? Many companies vanished completely. Look at, the technology. Look at the big guys, right? The mainframe computer vendors, they all vanished, right? They're no longer today. So that was a shake-up. People who didn't embrace change in the 2000s didn't do it. The next biggest change was the mobile, the smartphones, I would say, the internet. Phones were there, mobile phones, but smartphone big change, right? Could have anybody doing any smartphones enabled people to access the internet in a bigger way, and they could use apps, right? The app ecosystem, made accessible, right? So what the PC made to a mainframe, the smartphone did to a PC, right? Today, they give a lot more audience. Could have people could build apps. The next generation of the companies came in, could make e-commerce. A lot of things work in a bigger way.
Right.
And where are we going? I think and with the 5G, suddenly today I think we had only one change at a time. Today we are at a point where multiple things are happening at the same time. It's a big, right? Smartphone came in, the internet came in, the smartphone came in. But we have 5G, AI, and the semiconductor industry coming in a big way. Right? Three things. Right? Of course, cloud is there. Cloud has been there for a while. And three changes are happening simultaneously, right? And the pace of change has increased tremendously, right? Tremendously. And
well, also with blockchain and Web3 personalizing the whole experience and security.
Yeah, I think the changes are happening at a much faster pace. Much faster pace. I think future, if people don't embrace change, I think they'll be left out, right? People earlier had time to react, right? React. You could always catch up. I'm not the number one. I'll always watch, wait for some time, see the market picks up, and I'll react and change. And today, I think with the speed of change and a lot more people in the world innovating and working together, right, at the same time, you don't know. I think there are going to be a lot more black swan events than what we thought of earlier, right? Many surprises are very thrown. I think people will just look at a common man who didn't know about AI, who was not bothered with AI. The ChatGPT coming in, it has shaken up people, right? Shaken up a lot of people. Everybody, look at every TV channel around the world talk about ChatGPT,
Right. I mean, AI has become very common term now. Most people at least know something about AI.
I think so. We have robotics on one side, many generation of the electronics, AI and 5G, 6G networking coming in. We have four and the security, blockchain, Web3 coming in. You have five things. You are attacked in all directions, right? Things are coming in every direction. At least where I see in the future is that there are going to be less and less work for human beings, right? You'll get bored. Machines will do everything for you, right?
Okay.
A lot of your work, and what are you going to do, right?
But that's a very, very optimistic, positive view that we will be bored because we are assuming that we are all well fed. So obviously there are going to be most of the current existing jobs will be gone because I think when you started your career, when I started my career, the kind of jobs we had, many of them don't exist today.
Yeah.
So likewise with all these technologies that you talked about, a whole lot of jobs or the way things are done currently will not be done in the same fashion anymore. So there will be really new jobs, but interesting. If people have to still find a meaningful employment, a meaningful livelihood, what do you think they should be doing then?
I think that's a tough question to answer because what is meaningful, right? Probably the question. I think if you look at today, the mundane jobs will not be there. Anything which has a logic, right? AI will take out. Anything which has simple logic and rule based will be taken over by AI. Anything requires number crunching
which demands extremely physical will be taken over by robots.
Robots, yeah. So maybe even I'm just surprised. Art, so music, arts, I think fashion, couple of other areas, right? Then thinking, right? I think how we differentiate ourselves from the other creatures. Probably thinking, right? Thinking, right? We can think and be creative. I think we'll be relegated to things doing creative work, right? Not more creative work because assume food is available for you, the network is there, everything is there, right? You have everything given to you. What do you do? What do you do, right? You have to probably think creatively, think something else, right? I think there's a saying, right? Idle mind is a devil's workshop, right? I think we need to find ways to keep ourselves busy and be creative, right? Creative in the world.
Right. So possibly go look at. I think you probably heard of it, right? The two companies in US have planned to go and mine a meteorite because they are supposed to have highest amount of gold deposit.
Yeah. Yes.
So and of course, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos both wanting to set up colonies or prepare people to travel interplanetary or such. So I think people are planning all kinds of things. But I don't know. I still think we'll still have a lot of other problems. I mean, it's good to think more on art and culture, but unfortunately, some education institutions have stopped programs like Bachelor in Arts because they found that more people are interested only in professional courses such as engineering or commerce, but not humanities. So many colleges stopped teaching humanities anymore. So that's very ironical. In fact, do you? Yeah, that's another thing I just wanted to ask you. Ideally, I mean, I didn't. It just occurred to me now. Rather, do you hire people from humanities, particularly from a point of, for what do you call that, anthropology and such, for your pricing and better customer engagement and such? And also, since you work with AI?
I think so far what we found is some of the things we don't look at most data that, at least about a year and a half back, we started to change the trend. We don't look at what degree you have, what qualification you have.
Okay.
Skill, you have attitude. I said, tell people, somebody has a positive attitude and willing to do some change, some different, just hire them. Don't have to. I think the qualification doesn't matter, right? Degree doesn't matter, because what you have learned is you have to unlearn quickly, right? As long as you have the willingness to learn and adapt to yourself. That's I think the most important skill to have, right?
Wow. Okay. So you don't ask for what academic background you have.
No, it doesn't matter. Mark doesn't matter.
What about freshers? I mean, where do you hire them from? Any background?
So, any background doesn't matter. Any background, as long as they have intent to work, intent to do something, right? Something to contribute.
So this is seriously changing, right? I even heard almost 20% of employees of Google, Microsoft, and even Apple in US didn't have a formal qualification or degree or graduation, so to speak. So do you think that will happen in India ever?
I think it's going to happen, right? I think it will happen in a big way, because see, what you need in today's world to survive is a skill to solve a problem, could be any problem.
Have you what hired any non-graduate, undergraduate?
We have a lot of non-graduates, quite a few of them.
In a technical function as well?
You look at our right, some of the product teams, right? One part of the product support team. The product support team is full of people who don't have engineering, who have only non-engineering background, but they are doing amazingly well. No,
non-engineering, but even non-graduate?
Some are graduates, some are not graduates, some have got diplomas, some have got graduates, some are coming with commerce background, arts background. I'm feeling that, at least we started many years back, in our support teams, we hired non-engineering folks because they have passion to learn something they did learn. And we found their customer interaction skills is amazing, right? Amazing skills. And they were quickly able to pick up IT skills, right? Usually zero computer science skills, they were able to
like Zoho has been a pioneer at it, right? They started training, and that popular story of their security guard became a software engineer.
I think, as I say, one of the things, somehow, we're ingrained to look at a formal qualification, right? As long as the inherent human being is much more capable, they look at one number called a marks, right? Like, because in a degree is trying to measure people, because succeed in a business or a company, you need a lot more skills, which I think, emotion, compassion, communication, willing to take risk. I think these are not easily measurable, right? You can't put a number to it, right? This emotional quotient is 5.2, this taking is 3.2. No, you can't easily measure.
Correct.
And very hard to judge a person, right? By just looking at one number, marks card, right, rank or a grade, right? I think it's unfair to judge any person. I think
Absolutely.
give a fair chance to people to work with them. And we actually recently we opened an internship program a year back. Anybody and everybody who is willing to work and learn, right? We opened an internship. At the end of the internship, he or she decides whether what we do is suitable for them. They like it, they can become a formal employee and continue. If they don't like it, it's fine. You can find something else, right? I think it will be I think we need to have a lot more open communication with the people, because you can't box it, right? Like a formal clerical job. Yeah, you have these skills, you are good at this. And we discover, I think the identifying who has what skills is a discovery process. I think an interview is a bad way of either selecting or rejecting people, right? Sometimes, you know, I speak to Sridhar, right? He tells me very interesting thing. Interview measures the skills of the interviewer, not the interviewee. Written test,
wonderful,
right?
Correct.
Written test measures the skills of the person who said the question. Because I have seen, even myself, going back, you try to ask a question, you are to checking whether somebody knows what you know. It's unfair, right? So how the hell do you expect? You know, I have seen very big companies. You know, even if you just look at Google and answer some of the questions, right? What Google asks. Can you give up the algorithm to do something? Yeah, if I know, I know. If I don't know, what does it mean? Are you checking? You know, on the fly, you can't, you know, with a practice, you can answer any skills, right?
Correct.
It's not turning, I think the present way of interviewing and examination is not, it is very hard to measure somebody's skill, you know. See, human being is a complex creature, right? And you can't judge if somebody is good or bad in a short amount of time, right? So I feel it's very unfair.
Correct. How far do you see that we will have unicorns coming out of Mysore or even smaller towns? Now that people are starting out of, I mean, technically we can start a company anywhere today, right? I mean, at least from a
I think I would look at redefine what a unicorn is, right? Basically, you know, the way it's been defined today, right? You know, defined today, definitely.
Yeah.
I look at creating value and revenue, right? Because see, just like a person, right? You have to be healthy yourself. You know, in organization like a combination of people, you have to be healthy. Unless you have that, you know, really.
No, the idea, context of suggesting unicorn is from a point of, you know, getting a global recognition, right? Somebody globally looking up to it as somebody significant and also having significant impact and value created.
I think it's possible anywhere in the world. It could be, you know, Mysore, or it could be, you know, Davangere, could be Jaipur, or it could be Nairobi. Right? Anywhere in the world, I think it's possible today with the network and technology available, right? Pretty much, you know, tools available. I don't think anybody can be successful anywhere in the world.
No, but you're also very active in startup ecosystem in Mysore. So from that point, do you see something?
I think Mysore is coming up. You know, at least what I see in the last 2-3 years, right? Lot more activity in Mysore, right? A lot more, you know, people willing to work here, right? I think once upon a time, people in Mysore were looking for jobs in Bangalore, run away to Bangalore, literally, right? No, I think a lot more startups coming up here. People want to do and try out things, right? I think if you look at the whole, it has to do with economics and everything, right? When my parents grew up, you know, getting the job was the first thing, right? My father grew up, I think he had to get a job to survive, right?
So when you move to Bangalore and start.
And then when we grew up, I think, you know, we didn't have too much of freedom, but at least we could get good education, we could get a decent job, you know, at least take care of our basic needs, right? Now our next generation kids, I think, you know, I think they have reasonably well off, right? Financially reasonably well off, right? So the economics growth over the last 20-30 years, so ensure that, you know, people can try out, right? You can always get a job. I think for a smart guy, you can always get a job. Why not try out, right? I think once you graduate or finish whatever you want to study, have a certain amount of skills, this option to try out, right? And people a lot more freedom. So I think I'm seeing a lot more parents are open, you know, I think something like, you know, other things happening, right? In the media, and then Shark Tanks happening. People see, right? You can be successful, you know. Anybody can be successful. I think that has what I see the Shark Tanks has done, it allowed people and families to watch, and, you know, because finally you need the family to support the kids, right? Let them try out. I couldn't try. Why can't my kid try, right? Let him try. You know, if it fails, is okay, right? What is wrong in failing, right? You know, the whole world evolved by failing, right? As long as we, you know, parents are willing to appreciate that, you know,
so try and at least fail, there is a better acceptability for failure is coming into our society.
Yes. You know, couple of events I've been seeing in Mysore. I see parents a lot more enthusiastic, you know, supporting their kids. I know whatever you want to do, I'm willing to support you, right?
Correct. And I know you were earlier itself getting down to making a prediction in our previous conversation. Now, if you had to make 3 predictions, what would you choose to do?
I think a couple of things, you know, if you look back history, we always talk about, you know, human mind and what you can think it will happen, right? Correct. And future, I think with the way technology evolving, you can actually think and things can happen, right? Your neural link happened today, right? You can think, whatever your mind can be read by a device. Right. And some robot sitting remotely can do what you think, right? You can imagine things, and imagination can become into reality in no time, right? I want to make something, I think you can wish. Your wish will become reality soon, right? pretty much what happen.
So translate it to a system which will generate a CAD drawing and push it to a 3D printer and it will print it out.
You think about it, right? Today, I think if you look at today, it's been what our human beings thought of it as we say visionary, right? We vision what a vision happens, right? But translating to vision to reality has been a long cycle, right? The cycle can be shortened very, very significant, right? With AI, right, automation, robotics, and tools, right? So I would say that they will come, when you think about it, it can happen, right? Immediately, right?
So you believe that that Neuralink and there will be many more such companies too.
Many more such companies, yes.
All right. And what time frame do you give for them to be?
Maybe another 5 years, probably, right? Not more than that.
5 years?
Things should happen, yes. Because see that
it's a little too aggressive.
I think already a lot of things are happening, right? Already happening in the parallel, right? Happening in the way. 5 years, maybe maximum 10 years, not more than that, right? What happen, right?
Right. So then we don't need these devices to listen. No need of carry phone.
Yeah, you don't need to carry devices around, right? You don't have a laptop. Today you carry a laptop, a smartphone, a smartwatch, and you have a carry a
right.
I think your earpod will be the device, probably a device or a glass, simple, right?
Yeah. So we probably need just one instead of 1, 2.
One device like a glass, right?
4.
Right. Yeah, I think all the devices will get eliminated.
Or right? Probably not even the glass, right? With an implant here and a built-in lens inside.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Yeah. I think you'll just carry one device, right? See, if you today, I think if you look at today, mobile, we have 7 nanometer. 1 nanometer chip comes in, it's going to be so minuscule, right? Right.
Well, okay. So that is 10 years, 5 to 10 years, 5 years, at best 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
But honestly, with that, the whole power consumption also go down technically. But anyway, so what's the next one?
I think we'll be probably moving around space, right? Space, colonizing the more planets, will be making a travel to space a lot more easier, right? Probably have space tourism going on, right?
Right. I think Japan is talking about building that restaurant at the what sphere is that? Just above the Earth's. What is that ring? Just above that, Japan is building a restaurant which is technically in space but connected for you.
As long as in the stratosphere, we are in the Earth, right?
I think it's just about the stratosphere, something like that, right?
Just about the stratosphere, you can be there, yes. Yeah. Moment you just need to go into a geostationary orbit, right? Moment you push something to a geostationary orbit,
yeah. There, right? So they're building a restaurant there. So
I think it just would happen, right?
Yeah. So, but again, affordability, right? It's all so very expensive. So hopefully they'll become cheaper.
I think if you just look at 100, 200, 300 years back, right? Traveling, just look at the evolution, right? Traveling to one continent to continent was a ship 6 months, 3 months, right? Then airlines came in. Became days, right? Days, right? So what was impossible becomes possible, right? That's what we have seen. I think as human beings, we are about with amazing talent, right? Whatever we can think of, dream of, I think we are able to achieve it. Right? Maybe it's a matter of time. Anything we dream of, I think we are able to somehow achieve it, right?
So do you think space travel opens up? You will be a passenger?
Probably yes. Maybe in next 10 years, yeah, certainly yes.
Okay. So do you want to make a third prediction on that? Anything?
Third will be, I think future will be, probably food, right? Probably maybe 10 years down the line, a lot of food would be grown in the labs, probably, right? Agriculture will change, right? Completely change the way it's happening today. Because we have AI, robotics, and sensors available. We can probably grow tissue culture and other things, right? And a lot more things will change. Fundamentally, things will change, right? The way you grow food.
And with the implant inside, we probably don't have to work out. It'll organically keep burning our fat.
Probably many things will change. Yeah, so a lot of things are going to change. Because we have probably understand the human mind better, right? We'll understand because I think we have tried to decipher the DNA, tries to understand as a human mind how it works. I think once we understand better, we'll be able to do a lot more things, right? Because our evolution is based on like an animal, right? We are like an animal. right? And the only animal instincts are still there. Hopefully, they will go away over time, right? We have become mature creatures, and some of the instincts will go away.
Right. Wonderful. Srinivas, do you want to talk about people who you think are impacting maximum to the future? Do you want to shout out some names, call out some names?
A couple of things that I would certainly put one, whatever, Elon Musk, right? Probably betting on the future, doing many things, like impossible things, right? People said EV was impossible, EV made happen, EV made happen.
And he's working on travel to Mars and also
travel to Mars, the SpaceX, the EV and the SpaceX. So to be Neuralink, three areas.
Neuralink, right? Yeah.
3 areas, right? Other than, I think, probably right now, Jeff Bezos is in the little background, but he's also trying to do something in the space, right?
Right. Anybody in India, you think somebody who's doing anything like this?
Nothing in a specific person as such right now, right? We're looking at it. Still, we are. So one of the challenges I see in India is we are constrained, right? Because we have always grew up, in a limited resource, right? We always have constraints. So we think within the constraints. The constraints we have, because resource constraints, the money, and so many things, the challenges we have had, it puts a binding on our thinking, right? We are, we are, clouded by the constraints we have. So I think we are not able to think as freely as the Western world in terms of, and we are not fully unshackled, think completely freely, right? If only we start thinking, maybe the next generation of kids will start, then they don't have any constraints. They can be unbounded by the constraints. They can think.
But already we see, right? Next generation clearly has that no constraints thinking.
I think, but I think we are about 20-30 behind the Western world, right? At least behind, because what happened in the 90s, 80s is happening now here, right? And we need to have it's going to happen in a matter of time, right? A matter of time.
Wonderful. And any recommendations for people who are listening to you, the entrepreneurs or the people who want to be entrepreneurs? What do you want to tell them? How do you think they should prepare for future?
I think if you wanted to be the entrepreneur, this is the best time to be there. It's the world. I wish I were 20 years younger. I could do a lot more hands-on things, right? So you go back to the future, right?
And all of you should follow him on LinkedIn. I think he keeps putting up, Srinivas, you surely keep putting up very nice messages. I think every entrepreneur and wannabe entrepreneur should follow you on that. Are you also on Twitter?
Yes.
Do you also share those things on Twitter?
Yeah, I share. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. You should also keep following on that. Amazing thoughts keep coming out on that. Apart from that, any other thing, any recommendations you want to make? You did talk about the books that you read in your first conversation that we had. So apart from that, any specific recommendation?
The other book I didn't talk about is Build, right?
Build.
Okay. Build. That's an amazing book, because we also know only one side of Apple, Steve Jobs. You have seen Steve Jobs' autobiography, and you need to, the Build takes you inside of Apple. How iPhone was made, how products were built.
What's his author's name? Ivy. He's a product head, right? He was a product head.
He was a product head,
yeah.
I think I need to check and tell you. I just put the name. And that's an amazing book,
Yeah.
I just put down recently, and I said I should read about it. Right? I read everything about Apple. I have not read about what happens inside Apple, right?
Correct.
Tony Fadell, right? Tony Fadell. It's an amazing book. I think every entrepreneur, I would say, it's a must read, I would say, because it shows you that even a company like Apple is fallible. They made mistakes. So we need to understand that we always think, somebody is a god. All of us are human beings. We all mistakes, right? Make mistakes, and it's about one of my friends and an inventor. This person, keeps talking. Naveen Laku keeps talking about in the innovation forum. Said, it's not about who make mistakes. It's about how quickly you get up. You fall. How quickly you can get up and run again, right? Right. I think Tony Fadell gives a very good insight into how Apple made products, how decisions were made. They also made mistakes. They learned and quickly recovered. And they also face challenges, right? It's not that everything is everything looks green on the other side, but reality is so many people behind the iPhone there many man years of hard work, and iPhone didn't happen in a day. There were decades of engineering work put by Apple and team, and one day it fructified, right? But they kept their passion for a long time, right?
True. So true. Wonderful. That's a great recommendation. And thank you so much, Srinivas, for your time, your thoughts, and also what you're doing. Wish you all the very best. And hopefully we'll catch up soon to hear what's new. And until then, thank you so much. And for all of you who's been part of this journey so far, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did in having Srinivas here with us. And if you liked it, please go ahead and share it with other people who you think will appreciate something like this. Thank you so much. Until then, take care. Thank you, Srinivas.
Thank you. Thank you.